Hi, I am Joy, founder of God's Marvelous Light, Incorporated, and I want to speak to you today about chemtrails or death dumps. Beauty surrounds us each and every day by the grace of God, and we breathe in the freshness of God's great gift of creation, clean air. Something mars this beauty, however, and God-given benefit by the chemical trails and death dumps projected from nearly every plane that flies overhead. The CIA's flights out of Nebraska's Air-Force Base, and even by the commercial flights that move about the skies above us. This is real. The reasons behind this heinous invasion upon us is some scientists, without doing the research, prompted by our government and the Illuminati, thinking it would control the atmosphere above us for guarantees and control of weather in terms of temperature and barometric pressure. This has, however, created a plume of chemicals, finely shredded paper that is a fine dust and a variation of different types of metals included, that promotes sickness and death falling down upon us from the sky. It affects ill health in little children, the sick and infirm, to the elderly, destroying perfect health and happiness in all ages and environments. The plant life and animal life cannot tolerate breathing this in as well. Hence the name death dumps. Ted Gunderson, who was head of FBI in LA, Memphis, and Dallas, has a video which is shown within this video and on my website, www.godsmarvelouslight.com, and can help you understand just how uninformed the country is, our country of America, and our people about this fact, pushing it upon us without our knowledge and consent. And it has been happening for many years, decades in fact. We have been affected tremendously by its harmful effects. There are multiple variations of cloud formations that are depicted behind me on the screen. At least 9 different types. You can see the pictures I have taken as well of a pristine blue cloudless sky. Then the jets flying over that have a jet plume that spreads out with the chemtrails and death dumps. A jet with fuel will pass overhead, and the plume or fuel trail from the plane will dissipate quickly. But the death dumps just spread out and does not stop for many, many miles. As the pictures depict the reality of these chemtrails, notice the time frame is from early morning until late in the evening that these harmful substances are dumped upon us. A friend of mine told me he has a friend whose uncle flew these planes for the CIA and knew it for a fact that this occurs nearly every day and throughout each day. I have seen it happen very often in one day, then a few days will go by without it. Maybe one day, and then maybe 2. It may be the CIA concentrate on other venues and areas on those particular days. But I pray that these planes will be grounded forever, as this is wrong and negates our health and God-given right to breathe in His healthy air. Not this evil attempt to kill us. Think of the innocent mothers and fathers or other loving family members that place a baby in their strollers or cribs out in the shaded gardens of their homes in a way of thinking that they are giving them fresh air to breathe while they sleep or play, to breathe and helping them to have a good life. But instead, it is a sentence of ill health and death. We are not intended to bring into the alveoli, or those tiny air sacs, into our lungs that hold the air that we breathe. And these fine particles of paper and metals, the metals I have noticed in years past, have been destroying the paint on cars. This did not happen before, and I wondered if it was poor craftsmanship and the car was an aged car and a lack of professionalism and greed for the degrading of the quality of paint being used for the painting of the vehicles, when it is now evident that the paint on cars left out in the outdoors during the heat of the day is being destroyed by these chemtrails. Imagine then what the chemtrails or death dumps are doing to us and our lungs and our lives and our families. Commercial jets are using the chemtrails as well and telling the passengers to lower their blinds at a certain time when the plume is being released from the tanks in the belly of the plane. One aircraft mechanic was threatened with his life when he came across these tanks that are not part of the norm in the fuselage for these aircraft. He asked about them and was told to shut up or else. He was threatened with his life. Who would be doing this but the CIA, our Congress, and the Senate, passing laws covered within pork barrel policies and legislation which is perpetrated by the Illuminati. As our presidents are just the talking head and do not deem us good health, but harm by selling their souls to the Illuminati, who think of us as goyim, cattle, chattel, and want to destroy 94% of us, and who have sold their souls to the devil in their synagogue of Satan. We are being murdered and given ill health by these death dumps and must stand up and speak up against it. Don't think for a millisecond, not even for a millisecond, that the chemtrails or death dumps are going to go away because we refuse to think about it and talk about it. It'll just be fine. Because like anything else in our lives, it worsens when we are silent and pretend it doesn't exist. The scientist that spoke out about this fact and the chemicals falling upon us was murdered shortly after his video was placed on YouTube, and as is the case with Ted Gunderson, who voiced for many years the killing of little children in these pedophile rings and about these death dumps. He spoke out about that as well. He succumbed to bladder cancer as he had been poisoned for years by arsenic poisoning. His physician stated the bladder cancer was as a result of arsenic poisoning, which is conducive to bladder cancer. We are in a war. Please believe that. We are in a war. The children are fighting it every day. As I've told you, 5,468 go missing every day. Believe it and know it is real. The children are in the worst of it, and the loving parents who have been victimized by their loss of their children mourn it daily. Use an umbrella while walking and a moist cloth over your mouth. Keep children and elderly indoors when you see the chemtrails in the sky. But the best resolve is to speak up and stand up against this crime against us and our families and our lives. Please believe it. No, it's true. It's not delusional thinking. It's not a lie. It's not paranoia. It's not a joke. This is real. Please take care of yourself and your families, and God bless.
The death dumps, otherwise known as chemical trails, are being dropped and sprayed throughout the United States, in England, Scotland, Ireland, Northern Europe, and I have personally seen them not only in the United States but in Mexico and Canada. Birds are dying around the world. Fish are dying by the hundreds of thousands around the world. This is genocide. This is poison. This is murder by the United Nations. This element within our society that's doing this must be stopped. I happen to know of 2 of the locations where the airplanes are that dump this crap on us. 4 of the planes are out of the Air National Guard, Lincoln, Nebraska, and the other planes are out of Fort Still, Oklahoma. I personally have observed the planes that were standing still in Nebraska, Lincoln, Nebraska, at the Air National Guard. They have no markings on them. They're huge, bomber-like airplanes with no markings. This is a crime. Crime against humanity, crime against America, crime against the citizens of this great country. They must be stopped. What is wrong with Congress? This has an effect on their population and their people and their friends and their relatives and themselves. What's wrong with them? What's wrong with the pilots who are flying these airplanes? They're dumping this crap, this poison, on their own families. Somebody has to do something about it. Somebody in Congress has to step forward and stop it now. Thank you. I'm Ted Gunderson.